Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me as Epic Fantasy, and this is my latest tutorial. This is part 10 of the Storm the Castle Diorama series, and I call this Rebuilding the Walls, because what I actually did was I took down all of the outer walls and I've redone them. And this is one of the nice pieces like this. I like this. There's a lot of changes I made. I added a lot of detail. Here, let me show you. This is the old one, right? And this one replaces this piece in the castle. So some of the pieces I made new ones. Isn't that great? I love that. And some of the pieces I just redid the old ones, right? Like that. Added details and made it more castle-like. Fun project, a lot of work, so much work. Laying in these stones like this takes a lot of time. In this video, I will show you what I did and how I did it. I'll also show you a few neat techniques for working with foam. One more thing is, while I was doing all of this, I thought to myself, gee, you know, it might be interesting to do a tutorial on castle walls and how they're built, and let me show you what I mean. So what I did was I made this right here. I made this demonstration model. Can you see that? I made this demonstration model. All right, let me pull away. Of a typical castle wall. So yeah. And this shows all of the major parts of a typical castle wall, including what's inside the wall. And I'm not going to do that in this video. My next video will be that. I'll show you that model, and it will point out the various parts of a typical castle wall. All right, so let's launch into the tutorial. Storm the Castle Diorama Part 10, rebuilding the castle walls. Thank you. Dioramas, origami, catapults, and trebuchets, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. Okay, so let's take a look at where it was before this installment of the series. These are what the walls looked like before. You know, all the white here in front, the towers, the round towers, and the various walls. And I wasn't happy with them, the crenellations, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to have to redo all of that work, which is okay. I don't mind. It just took a lot of time to do. And the results come out really nice. I'm happy with the improvement that I've made in this diorama. So I removed all those walls, and nothing is yet glued in place or secured in place, so I could continue to work on the insides of the castle. But for some of the pieces, a few of the pieces, I could remove the crenellations and the various details, so I could just simply rework those blocks. And I also, using a hot wire foam cutter, skimmed off about 1/16 of an inch to get rid of that coating on the outside and the texture. See right here, look. Now I can rework that block to our new pattern. And for this round tower here, I was like, it's going to be difficult to reskim that or reshape it. So I just went ahead and drew my pattern right on it, and it actually came out looking pretty good. But for the most part, for almost all of the pieces, I ended up recutting new sheets of foam and making the walls thinner. Rather than being 2-inch thick walls, I used 1-inch thick walls. So most of them are replaced with new foam. And the lion's share of the work here is all of this detail work of drawing in those granite blocks. And I used a ballpoint pen for that, and I just spent hours doing that. It's a lot of work, but the end result came out good. And then now I also added detail work, you know, windows and arrow slots and crenellations and all these various things, corbels, to the walls, and I used templates for that. So I used those templates to draw out a whole bunch of them, and then I cut those out. And the templates are really great, so we could keep everything uniform across the whole castle. So here's the Crenellation unit, and I made a lot of these. You know, it goes all the way around on all the walls. Oh, and in my next video, I will show you all these various parts and what they mean, like I said in the beginning of the video. But here you go. Here's a completed wall section.
And that's what it looks like before it's painted. So let's go ahead and paint it. And you probably, this is rather interesting, this process. The first thing I did was I washed in a very wet black paint. And what we want here is for the black to settle in all the cracks around the stones. We don't want the stones themselves to be black. That's inconsequential. We want the black to settle in around all the stones into where I did all the marking with the ballpoint pen. And then once that dried, and it's important to let that dry first, then I did dry brushing with a granite gray color to bring out the stones. And see, isn't that wonderful? I love that. So what happens is the black stays in all the cracks, and the granite gray color just is applied to the higher sections, thus painting just the stones. And then once that dried, I went ahead and used various shades of gray and black and white to just add detail to a lot of the different stones. It makes it look much more realistic if the stones aren't all the same exact shade of gray. You know, like that. It's wonderful. See, it's really nice. It came out really good. I'm happy with that. And then some detail work, which in this case is moss. A little bit of moss down near the earth. That's the green. Kind of infecting the areas around the stones. And then one final very, very light, very wet black wash. And that's that. So the painting is done for the various walls. Now we add the detail work. And that's, you know, just gluing on the various foam pieces for the windows and the beams and all the corbels like this. And a corbel is an interesting thing. That's in my other video coming up. And then adding some detail to all those various parts and painting them, and you know, and that's about that. You know, a lot of fun here. You know, I had a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time on this installment, but I haven't worked on this diorama in such a long time. I thought it'd be nice to spend, you know, 40, 50 hours doing it. And there you go. So I think this is a very big improvement. I'm happy that I spent the time doing it. And I may do the inner walls too. I haven't decided yet. But see, it looks much more castle-like. And that diorama is 4 feet by 7 feet in size. So it's very big. I got a lot more work to do. You know, I'll try to do another installment in a month or 6 weeks or something. But I'll keep at it until it's done. Just like I did with the wall diorama. It took me a long time to do. And the medieval village diorama, that took me a long time to do. But there you go. The Storm the Castle diorama. Check out the playlist for all the various, I show you how to do this from start to finish, from nothing to this. So I promised you some foam cutting tips at the beginning of this video. Let's look those over. One thing a lot of people overlook is, you know, use a piece of wood and a clamp as a guide. If you want to keep your lines, your cut lines nice and straight, see how I've got that piece of wood cut down there and clamped down? That helps a lot in making nice clean cuts. And another thing is that you know you can angle the wire on your hot wire foam cutter. See, and now you can use this to make an angled cut that is very professional and clean and neat looking. Watch, I'll show you. And there you go, a nice angled cut. Watch just the edge here, you'll see it. See that? So you don't just do 90-degree angles, you can do any angle you want. And here's another one for tricky cuts. You can tape some pieces of wood. Don't use metal, because that could short out the foam cutter. It won't work. Some pieces of wood, some popsicle sticks as guides. Tape them right to the part, and then now you can easily cut a nice, perfect, beautiful straight line any way you want. And that's that. All right, so more stuff coming. I'll post my medieval wall video in a couple of days. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch. Okay, so I haven't posted a video in 2 weeks, and I'm really sorry about that. I spent a lot of time on the medieval village. There was a lot of work, but I've also been spending an enormous amount of time on my next novel, The Left-Handed Sword. It's my 7th book, my 3rd novel, and it's really coming out pretty good. I'm 75,000 words into it, and I'm trying to push it so I can finish it and get it published. So that's, you know, a big part of the reason why I haven't done a video in 2 weeks. Sorry about that, but I'm looking forward to getting this book done. Hopefully it'll be soon, but you know, writing a novel is a lot of work.